It is unacceptable that the monthly cost of cancer drugs has more than doubled over the last 10 years to $9,900 a month. In the United States of America, you should not be forced into bankruptcy because you are diagnosed with cancer. Mr. President, it is time, in fact, the time is long overdue, for our country and our Congress to join the rest of the industrialized world by implementing prescription drug policies that work for everybody and not just the owners of the pharmaceutical industry. And that is why I recently introduced legislation to lower the cost of prescription drugs in America. That legislation is co-sponsored by Senator Al Franken of Minnesota and introduced in the House by Congressman Elijah Cummings. Specifically, this is what that bill would do. Number one, it requires Medicare to use its bargaining power to negotiate with the prescription drug companies for better prices, a practice that was banned by the Bush administration several years ago. Number two, this bill would allow individuals, pharmacists, and wholesalers to import prescription drugs from licensed Canadian pharmacies where drug prices are significantly lower than they are in the United States. And, Mr. President, I would like to introduce into the record a comparison of the prices of some drugs in the United States with Canada.
Without objection.
Thank you. And let me just give you a few examples. We have a drug called Crestor. It deals with high cholesterol. Here in the United States, we pay $608 for a 90-day supply. Canada, $160, 74% less in Canada. Premarin for estrogen therapy, $324 in the United States, $90 in Canada. Nexium, $682 in the United States, $228 in Canada. Synthroid, $878 in the United States, $212 in Canada. Same product, same company, same bottle. It's not generics. These are the same exact brand name products. Celebrex, $878. This is a widely used drug for arthritis. Celebrex, $878 in the United States, $212 in Canada. And what this bill would do, in addition to having Medicare negotiate drug prices with the pharmaceutical industry, which would substantially lower the prices Medicare pays, this bill would allow individuals, pharmacists, and wholesalers to import prescription drugs from licensed Canadian pharmacies where drug prices are substantially lower than they are in the United States. I live 100 miles away from the Canadian border. In 1999, I took a busload of Vermonters, mostly women, many of them dealing with breast cancer, over the Canadian border into Montreal. And I will never forget, as long as I live, the looks on their faces when they bought the same medicine they were buying in Vermont and the USA for 1/10 of the price. Mr. President, 1/10 of the price. These are working-class women struggling with breast cancer, not having a whole lot of money. They were able to purchase the same exact medicine for 10% of the price in Montreal. That makes no sense to me. And it only speaks to the power of the pharmaceutical industry over the United States Congress that we have members here who vote for all kinds of free trade agreements. They just love free trade. We can bring any product you want in from China. You can get lettuce and tomato coming from farms in Mexico. But for some strange reason, we cannot bring in brand name drugs from Canada. Just can't do it. Can't figure out how to do it. And everybody here knows what the reason is. It is the power of the pharmaceutical industry, their campaign donations, and their lobbying efforts. So, Mr. President, our bill does a lot more than that. But we cannot, in good conscience, tell people in our states that they must continue to pay outrageously high prices for prescription drugs when year after year drug companies make billions of dollars in profit, and year after year people in our country get sicker because they can't afford the medicine they need, and in some cases die.
Wow.